Now, as promised a few videos back, we were going to have a look at completing the square. I'm just going to express this in completed square form first, and then we're going to solve using the completed square. In other words, we're going to solve by completing the square. But to start with, we're just going to take this, we're going to factorize first and see what the factors are. So I'm going to just do that quickly. So we've got 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. Now, lots of ways, of course, of factorizing. We could do it by decomposition, or what's known as splitting the x value. My favorite way, though, really is by factorization by division. So I'm going to do that first. So let's have a look. We've got 2 times 5 is 10. We're looking for factors of 10, which are 1 and 10, 2 and 5. So I'm now going to write out my brackets. I like this because I can write the bracket straight away. If I got a 2x here, I write a 2x here as well. Signs are going to be the same. They're both going to be positive. Nice and simple. We're looking for numbers here that add, of course, to 11. And 2 and 5 doesn't do it, but 1 and 10 does. So I put my 10 here, my 1 here. Doesn't matter which way round you've got them. And to make this true, because right now it's not true, to make this true, I simply divide whatever I can. Well, I can divide this by 2. Can't divide this by anything. So this now becomes 2 goes into 2, x times 2 goes into 10, plus 5. So I end up with x plus 5, 2x plus 1. So you can see if I was to solve this at some point, x would have to be negative 5, and here x would have to be negative 1/2. So that's where we're headed. So it's quite useful to have that as kind of a landmark on the way. All right, let's go ahead and complete the square. So we're not going to solve at this point. We're just going to go ahead and see where that ends up. So to start with, I'm going to restate the problem. So here it goes. We've got my 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 2. Now, to divide everything by 2, again, if we're solving it, it's different. But if we're going to do that, I'm going to take the 2 outside the brackets, which means I'm going to put a 2 outside here. I'm going to use a big square bracket because I'm going to have the curvy brackets inside, actually, at a later point. So I'm going to divide everything by 2. If I divide that by 2, I'm going to get an x squared. Plus, if I divide this by 2, I'm going to get 11x on 2. If I divide this 2, I'm going to get a plus 5 on 2. And by the way, all this would be restored on the way back. So if I multiply that by 2, I should get 2 times 2x is 2x. 2 times 11x on 2 is 11x. 2 times 5 on 2 is going to be a 5. So that all works out very nicely. Now let's extend this a little bit further. So let's go ahead. We've still got a 2, still got the big curly bracket, the big, square bracket there. I've got an x squared plus, I've got 11 on 2x. Going to leave a bit of a space here. I've got my 5 on 2, that's my c term. Now I'm going to add the b term to both sides, halve it, square it. Now when I say both sides, what I mean is I've only got one side. So I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to subtract it on the same side. So I'm going to add it, first of all. Here we go. I'm going to add it over here, and I'm going to subtract it over here. It doesn't really matter where. I could put them right next to each other. But I like them next to each other here because this whole bit here on the other side of the 5 over 2 is going to be my completed square. So let's see how that plays out. So I've got my 11 on 2. Here it is. And I'm actually going to write the 11, and I'm going to write the 2 very small. In fact, I'm going to write it big. Here we go. Write it big, that's fine. But I'm going to leave room because I'm going to halve it. So to halve it, I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2. So this is now 11 on 2. Half of it is 11 on 4. And of course, I'm going to square that as well. So I've taken the b term, I've halved it, squared it, and I've added it. I'm now going to do the same thing, but I'm subtracting it. So here's the b term. I'm going to halve it. So I'm going to put a 4 here. And of course, I am squaring it. So now I have added it and subtracted it from the same side, and my large bracket still goes there as well. All right, let's see how this all plays out and ends up. So I still got my 2. Here we go. Let's go ahead now and let's tidy this up a little bit. Well, we know, first of all, this bit here. Oh, I should have a plus in here, sorry. We know that this bit over here, this bit here, That bit there nicely simplifies into my perfect square. I'm going to have an x squared here, and I'm going to have this thing over here, which is plus 11 on 4. Squared goes on the outside, and now I'm going to tidy this up. I've got a plus 5 on 2 minus 11 squared is 121, 4 squared is 16. Big bracket on outside. There we go. Okay, so now let's take a look. We're going to tidy this up. In fact, I'm just going to throw that straight into the calculator, see where we land. We've got a, what's that? So we've got a 5 on 2, 5 on 2, and I'm going to subtract 121 over 16. Where do we get? Negative 81 on 16. So we've got over here, now we've got ourselves again, a 2, large bracket. We've got our completed square, but oh, sorry, I'm looking at this. I do not have an x here. Crikey, I hope you saw that. I did not, and this is why it's so good to talk it through as you go along, because I make mistakes all the time. We know this bit now resolves, simplifies to minus 81 on 16. There it is. So now let's do something with that 2. So I'm going to multiply the 2 by this thing here and the 2 by this thing here. So 2 times this is going to be 2 brackets x plus 11 on 4. Not an awful lot we can do about that, and we certainly can't multiply the coefficient by the stuff inside because we'd have to square it first. We've also got a minus, well, 2 lots of 81, so that's going to be what, 162. So we've got 162 on 16. Now I can actually simplify that. So if I got 162 on 16, we could say that's 81 on 8. So I'm just going to rewrite that as equals 2 x plus 11 on 4 all squared minus, what did I say? It was 81, I think, 81 on 8. And that is my completed square form.